Good evening, I'm Hugh.
And I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020.
From ABC News, around the world and into your home, the stories that touch your life with Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters. This is 2020. Tonight, should this man go free? He viciously raped this woman.
I have never seen anyone beaten that bad that managed to live through it.
Now he's being released.
I felt that at least he deserved the opportunity to see if he could be a law-abiding member of our society.
But after years of silence, his victim tells the parole board about that terrible night.
My breast was torn, bitten on the face and my ear, ribs smashed.
Bob Brown with a dramatic confrontation between a victim and her attacker. Will her testimony keep him in jail, punished forever? And medical treatment at home rather than the hospital. It sounds like a great service until you see the bills.
You're taking advantage of probably the sickest people in our society.
Are home care companies making fortunes off the public? A 2020 investigation found underhanded practices, doctors getting rich, and exorbitant prices.
Almost $1,000 a day, more to keep Sarah at home and take care of her myself.
Catherine Cryer uncovers a scandal in medical care, an innovative idea that has become a prescription for profit. Plus, why is this congressman so angry at us?
John, what are you doing here in the Capitol? What are you doing here?
I'm here
Jacking me around.
After watching this, you may be angry too. It's about your money. The millions spent recording every word spoken in Congress. But is the record accurate?
I thought a record was a record.
It's not.
They add tributes to actors, turkey lovers, bands, kids.
If they're going to waste money, I just assume they waste it on my son and anybody else's.
John Stoddard goes to Washington for another outrageous episode of Your Tax Dollars at Work. Those stories tonight, December 3rd, 1993, after this brief message.
1993, we designed a new car. We created a new class. We developed new engineering. We created a new standard of performance. We redefined value, introducing the C-Class. It wasn't designed to compete with other cars. It was designed to replace them. The new C-Class starting at under $30,000.
It was a brutal crime that took place many years ago, but recently it became a landmark case. For the first time, a parole board was forced to reconsider its decision to release a violent criminal. Why? Because the victim had the right to tell her story and to try to influence the outcome of the hearing.
It was nearly 20 years ago that the woman you're about to meet was viciously raped, an act from which she never fully recovered. Should her attacker then be freed before serving his full sentence? As Bob Brown reports, that was the question facing a parole board in Arizona. And tonight, you'll see what happened.
This stretch of Route 66 between Phoenix and Flagstaff is where in 1974, just before dawn, police first encountered a case that became a symbol of the issue of victims' rights. How far and for how long should the feelings of a crime victim influence the way the criminal justice system operates? This is where the victim was discovered, a woman who had been raped, mutilated, and brutally beaten after accepting a ride from a man she had met at a roadside tavern.
That was the worst, most horrendous beating that I had seen in my 11 months and in the 19 years since then. I have never seen anyone beaten that bad that managed to live through it.
Jerry Harris was a rookie policeman with just 11 months service at the time, who was assigned to the investigation.
For several years since then, whenever I worked night shift, late at night, and happened to drive down this road and pass this point, I always think about it.
Here, come on, puppy.
The woman who was found by the roadside wants to be known only by the name Patricia. She is now 40. And scars from the attack nearly 20 years ago including one that runs the length of her lower jaw, are still visible. After recovering, she began an odyssey that seemed to have no end, moving every year or two to another city, trusting only animals and the elderly with whom she works and her family.
Sometimes I go to real large cities and live for a while, and I feel like I'm just kind of get lost in a lot of people. And then I go to little towns, and a few people know me, and it's kind of back and forth. I feel like maybe I want people around me that know me, and if something happens to me, they'll want to know what happened. And then I feel like I just want to get away.
Why are you worried about being easily found?
I don't want to happen to me what happened before. Self-preservation, I suppose. I mean, God looks over me, but I still have to take care of myself. I have to use common sense.
Have you been able to get close to anyone aside from a member of your family since this happened to you?
I got married. I was thinking, well, maybe I can make a relationship work. Maybe I could try, because it's so lonely and I was so young. But it didn't work.
While, in a way, the victim has been on the run ever since the crime occurred, her attacker now says he is ready and able to settle down into a home with a spouse if he is given the chance. 45-year-old Eric McGeary married his 7th wife while in prison, where he has served 19 years of a plea bargain sentence of 25 years to life. Officials at the Arizona State Prison would not allow McGeary to be interviewed, but he had an opportunity to speak publicly recently when he appeared before the Arizona Parole Board to ask them to uphold a decision to release him into a home arrest program.
I am not Eric McGeary in 1974. I'm sorry for what I did to the victim. I cannot change that, but I have changed myself.
I think at the time I could have sent this man to the gas chamber. It was a very heinous crime. I really think I could. But the question is, does rehabilitation play a part in our criminal justice system, or should you just throw the key away, you know?
Board member Stan Turley voted to parole McGeary, and so did Ed Leyva.
I felt that at least he deserved the opportunity to leave the institution and to see if he could be a law-abiding member of our society.
Eric McGeary had been released on parole once before in 1989, but was returned to prison when he tested positive for drug use. He claimed he'd been set up, and the members of the parole board who voted for his release seemed to think that he had also put that issue behind him. That opinion was supported by his wife, Diana, who met McGeary when she visited the prison as a guest 7 years ago. She said he had learned to take responsibility for his past, even to the extent of insisting that she read the record of his crime. Did you then go and read the record?
Yes, I did. I was horrified. It was a terrible crime. It was something that no one should ever do to another person. I wanted to know what caused him to do something like this. And he told me that he was very, very involved in alcohol and that he had gone into a blackout. And he put his arm around me and he gave me a big hug. And he just sobbed, "I'm so sorry for what took place." He says, "God, I wish I could change that."
Eric McGeary's release to home arrest with his wife Diana was scheduled for July 6th. But then the case became a cause. In 1990, Arizona had passed a constitutional amendment saying that a victim has the right to protest when the offender is considered for release. When asked whether Eric McGeary's victim, Patricia, had been notified of his parole hearing, the parole board claimed it couldn't find her.
She was located by county prosecutors, but even though she then wrote a letter of protest, the parole board, in a blow to proponents of victims' rights laws, flatly refused to reconsider its decision and hold a new hearing at which Patricia, as the victim, could have a voice.
Here's a man who committed a crime, has served part of his sentence, and can now be paroled.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a woman who was a victim of a crime, who in a sense can never be paroled from the hell that she has been in. And all she's asking is that there be some kind of balance given those two conditions.
But she's never asked it before, and she never asked it before this decision was made.
The victim could not be found, and there was a...
Then another twist. The Arizona Court of Appeals ruled that under the state's recent constitutional amendment, the parole board had a duty to offer the victim a chance to appear. The board said the court must rehear the case. On July 6th, just minutes before Eric McGarry would have walked out of prison, his wife Diana got a phone call.
And I picked up the phone, and it was Eric telling me that Department of Corrections had stopped him 5 minutes before he was getting on the bus to come home. We had no idea that the victim had come forth.
Can you understand her fear after what happened to her?
I can understand, but I also understand the other side, that he would never, never hurt this woman again.
I'm glad that now that she's going to be there for the upcoming hearing. That is. Now, whether it's going to change my overall decision in this matter, I don't know.
Actually, I don't really want to do it. I'd rather just, I'm very much keep to myself. But there's too much writing on this for other people, too. And I have to do it. I have to go back.
On Friday, August 20th, the whole process was reassembled in a hearing room at the Arizona State Prison. Patricia came with Coconino County Prosecutor Fred Newton and other victims' rights advocates. Eric McGarry was accompanied by his wife Diana and a number of supporters who would speak on his behalf, including his mother.
19 years is not just a slap on the wrist. He spent a long time in prison.
Directly addressing the board with his back to the assembled cameras, Eric McGarry repeated in his appeal his belief that he should no longer be held responsible for what he did because, he said, he is not the same man.
I shouldn't be held responsible for that Eric McGarry back there as the Eric McGarry today, because I have changed. I've changed for the better. And I'm not sitting here trying to con you in any way, shape, or form. I believe in my heart, when you granted me home arrest, you made the right decision. I hope you still stay with the same decision you gave me. Thank you.
Eric McGarry's testimony and the support and recommendations he received were essentially the same as they had been in May. What was clear from the beginning, when it was Patricia's turn to speak, was that both supporters and opponents of this exercise in victims' rights had been correct in anticipating its effect, that the hearing took on a weight and relevance that went far beyond a decision on whether a convict was capable of being returned to society. Although news cameras were kept in the back of the room, what we'll see is a tape of her testimony made by the Coconino County Attorney's Office, so that she would never have to return in person again.
When I walked out of the place and this person followed me out.
What came through most clearly was how timeless and endless an act of violence can be. Her description went back to the location of the roadside tavern where the two met, where Patricia, then a 21-year-old young woman, went for a night out with a girlfriend on Saturday, June 23rd, 1974. She says she danced with a man who, because her girlfriend wanted to stay, offered to give Patricia a ride back to her car, which was parked down the road.
I told him where it was. He started down the road, and I pointed out, there's my car. He didn't say a word, and I got apprehensive. And it was like a facade he had on that just dropped. It was just all of a sudden like a different person. And I was terrified. And I was back up against the door and the window trying to get out. And he continued his assault and attack on me. I know it was called a rape, but to me, the terrifying part was the physical violence. Someone could be that vicious and that cruel and that violent. I had a cut on my eye. I had my ear ripped. My breast was torn, bitten on the face, and my ear ribs smashed with a fist and broken. I was choked unconscious, and was the last thought of how my mother would take this, of her daughter dying.
After the statement, there was minimal questioning from the parole board. Had she tried therapy? She had, she said. Had she been able to marry? Once, but it didn't last. Before the board made its final decision, the members took a short break and then voted.
And my conclusion is that I would not be afraid of Mr. McGarry as being my next-door neighbor, and I make the motion to grant home arrest.
Stan Turley voted, as before, to release McGarry.
I have a real concern for future victims.
Anna Mae Riddell also voted as she had before, against his release.
I believe that Mr. McGarry has changed. While Mr. McGarry has changed, obviously, to the better, I submit that we have a victim here that has not changed. Unfortunately, we have a victim who is still suffering the trauma of a very heinous crime that occurred many, many years ago. And none of us
The appearance of the victim had affected the third member, Ed Leyva.
I think that I do have a big responsibility to that victim. And I want you to know, Mr. McGarry, that it had nothing to do with politics. Absolutely none.
The motion was to deny Eric McGarry's release. In short, the board reversed itself, and Eric McGarry would stay in prison.
After the hearing, I just wanted to give the victim a hug. I have no reason to resent the woman. My heart goes out to her.
I hope that you can go on with your life.
But I do, in the same respect, support my husband and believe that he's not the same person anymore. I felt like I just fell apart. I was heartbroken.
The hearing and everything surrounding it has helped me in a sense where I've gotten angry at myself for hiding. And I hope this will help other victims and witnesses of violent crimes to come forward. I don't know if I'm going to move again, but if I move, it'll be because I want to, not because of this person.
Bob obviously don't want to express an opinion, but does this mean that McGarry does not ever get paroled?
No, he is still eligible for a parole hearing every 6 months, and in fact we'll have another one in February, at which Patricia, as I understand, will send an audio tape of her protest, but won't reappear in person.
Every 6 months he comes up again for parole?
Yes.
I see. And what about Patricia? Is she really doing better since this?
She says, in retrospect, that the hearing for her was like a kind of pardon. However, she's currently, I guess you could say, still in hiding. She's not working and is on Social Security disability, so there are still plenty of problems to work through.
And this is a test case, new emphasis on the rights of the victim. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks. Well, next on the program, a warning about a health care service you may need someday. At-home care. It's more convenient and should be cheaper than the hospital. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Catherine Cryer investigates this new and growing business when we come back.
You're kidding. The heat's off on Saturday? I can't get a copy of Fixed on Saturday. That's helpful.
Technical support is closed on Saturday and...
Please send up some coffees.
UPS introduces Saturday Pickup.
You'll pick up the package?
With guaranteed tracking and guaranteed air delivery by 10:30 a.m. Monday.
Great.
Coffee.
All for less than our competitors.
How you doing?
Hi.
Finally, something on Saturday.
Iced coffee.
Guaranteed to go right. UPS.
So you switched from whole milk to skim milk, huh? And you're eating granola?
Oh, don't tell me.
Yep, good old granola is loaded with fat. But today, there's Kellogg's low-fat granola. Look, all the sweet, chewy, big, hearty taste today's granola fans crave, and just half the fat. Kellogg's low-fat granola. It won't weigh you down, slow you down, or let you down on taste. And now, Kellogg's low-fat granola comes without raisins, too.
Yeah!
Great taste, half the fat.
And no raisins.
You now command the supreme power in the universe. Rayovac Renewal, a new kind of alkaline battery created to be reusable. Renewal batteries outlive copper tops because they're reusable 25 times or more. They outperform old-fashioned rechargeables because you get alkaline power in every charge. More power, more game time. That's the power of renewal from Rayovac.
Presenting the Smart Clapper.
How smart could it be?
Clap twice to turn one appliance on or off, 3 times for another. It knows the difference. Plug 2 appliances into the Smart Clapper, then plug it into any outlet. Switch to away for added security. It turns TV or lights on at the first sound it hears.
Clap on, clap off, clap on, clap off.
The Smart Clapper.
The Smart Clapper is available at Kmart, Walgreens, participating Ace and True Value hardware stores.
Saturday.
Can we keep this between us? No.
The commish goes up against the super rich
They think they're above the law.
while investigating a suspicious suicide.
He killed her.
He's your father.
We didn't pick him.
The commish. Saturday.
Wednesday, it's Barbara Walters with her most spectacular show ever.
I'm dangerous because I'm right, and because I'm having fun being right.
Do you now ever yearn for prime time?
Like I don't have enough headaches. With the inside scoop only Barbara can get.
What do you say to people who say, Dr. Kevorkian, you are playing God?
A doctor always plays God.
Barbara Walters talks to the 12 most fascinating people of the year.
When the gas runs out of this one, I'm gone.
Wednesday.
The nation's healthcare system is under the microscope. A good time, we thought, to bring you our investigation of a relatively new healthcare service called home infusion. Well, what could be wrong with a service that provides very sick people with intravenous medication at home rather than in the hospital? Well, how about patients receiving unnecessary treatments or questionable relationships between the provider and the doctors and abusive prices? As Catherine Pryor reports, misfortune in one person's life can sometimes bring fortune to another.
You're $1 million baby, aren't you, Sarah?
Sarah Weber was born with cerebral palsy. When she was 4 years old, her digestive system broke down. From then on, she had to get all her food and massive doses of medicine intravenously.
Is this going to make you feel better? I know it will. Today, Sarah will get phenobarbs every 8 hours. She'll get Ceftazox every 8 hours, ampicillin every 6 hours, Azactam every 8 hours, and she'll also get morphine and Valium and Zofran as she needs them.
For 6 months, Sarah lay in a hospital bed, hooked up to the IV. Her mother, Marie, constantly at her side.
It was so hard with her in the hospital because I have 6 other children at home, and I felt like a rubber band between the hospital and home. I was needed both places, but couldn't be both places at once. Have a good day. Bye now.
Then Sarah was able to go home thanks to a new kind of health care. It's called home infusion. It's a $4 billion a year industry, and it's growing fast. Patients like Sarah get intravenous treatments in the comfort of their homes instead of in the hospital. Home infusion companies provide everything a patient needs, from drugs to pumps, plastic tubing, intravenous needles, even bandages and gauze. Now, you think it would cost a lot less than a high-priced hospital stay, but a 2020 investigation has found that many home infusion companies mark up the prices of drugs and supplies by huge amounts, sometimes more than 3,000%. And many companies pay doctors for referring patients for IV treatment, even in some cases when the patient may not need it. And it's all charged off to our insurance. Now, the money is so good that some doctors are going into the home infusion business themselves.
She can paint good, Mark.
It didn't take long for the Weber family to learn about pricing in the home infusion industry. Marie Costas Weber assumed Sarah's treatment at home would be much cheaper than in the hospital. That is, until the day the home infusion company told Marie her daughter's insurance was about to run out.
I thought, how could it be almost run out? And then I started asking them for bills.
How long did it take you to get bills from the company once you began to ask?
Over a year.
What was their excuse?
They don't send them to patients. They only send them to the insurance companies. Finally, when I was adamant and demanded them, they started sending me bills. And I couldn't believe what I saw.
What she saw were enormous bills from one of the biggest home infusion companies, Critical Care America, some approaching $100,000 a month. Marie compared the critical care bills to Sarah's hospital bills.
How much more a day does it cost? Almost $1,000 a day. More? More to keep Sarah at home and take care of her myself than it would be for her to stay in the hospital and have nursing 24 hours a day around the clock. I have to mix up.
How could that be? Marie showed us Sarah's supply of drugs.
And then, this is ampicillin. Sarah gets 4 of these a day. It's a powder that I mix.
Ampicillin is a commonly prescribed antibiotic. Critical Care charges $122.81 a dose. For Sarah, nearly $500 a day.
That just about pays for your bed. The hospital only charges you $10 a dose for the same thing.
So what might cost you $40 in the hospital is costing you $500 to give it to her yourself at home.
You've got it. That's the way it is. And that's outrageous, isn't it?
Critical Care could buy that for somewhere around $3.50 per unit, and they're selling it to her for $122.81.
That's a markup of more than 3,000%. Dr. Dwayne Hull makes a business out of analyzing medical costs for self-insured health plans. He says Critical Care and other IV companies' prices are way too high.
It's ludicrous. I don't care who tries to rationalize it.
One way Critical Care America tries to rationalize their prices is by pointing to their overhead, which they showed us.
Hi, good afternoon. This is
Nurses and pharmacists monitoring patients receiving treatment, a clean room for preparing drugs, storage facilities, and delivery staff.
If they give a price for the services that they're rendering, including the materials and the pharmaceuticals, they should be able to make a nice profit and pay all their costs for about a 75 to 80% markup.
But our investigation has found that pricing isn't the only problem. There are home infusion companies out there drawing in customers by convincing them they need treatment for diseases they may not even have, like Lyme disease. It can start with a simple radio ad.
If you have recurring symptoms such as joint or muscle pain, chronic fatigue, upset stomach, severe headache, you may have Lyme disease. Call 1-800-TICK-BITE to reach the Lyme Care Center.
It sounds like an ad for an information hotline.
I'm very angry.
And on the local news, the man who runs that hotline, Ray Hernandez, is portrayed as a Lyme disease victim out to help others. But what seems like a public information hotline is also a marketing ploy by this home infusion company, HomeEd, owned by Ray Hernandez's family. Lyme disease is the perfect disease for HomeEd. It's got a lot of vague symptoms, it's hard to diagnose, and it's often treated at home with intravenous antibiotics.
The understanding was that practically everything could be Lyme.
This woman has worked for HomeEd's hotline.
And I have heard people at the Lyme Care Center literally diagnosing people over the phone.
She says HomeEd's operators use this checklist of symptoms to convince callers they have Lyme disease and need IV treatment. Then send callers to doctors like Vital Shaw, who would prescribe home infusion provided by HomeEd. He was on HomeEd's payroll, and he's been accused by the state of New Jersey of putting patient after patient on IV antibiotics, even though they didn't need the treatment. That's what Cheryl Demick says happened when HomeEd sent her to Dr. Shaw after she called 1-800-TICK-BITE.
Before I even had the test, he told me I had Lyme disease.
Did Dr. Shaw ever discuss any relationship he might have with the home infusion company?
No, they said that they just do a lot of business with them and that he refers a lot of clients to them.
But in fact, when patients had the IV hookup implanted, HomeEd paid Dr. Shaw $350 and continued paying him $175 a week for every week the patient stayed hooked up. Last year, HomeEd paid Dr. Shaw more than $31,000. He made thousands more from deals with at least 4 other home infusion companies. Before long, Dr. Shaw put Cheryl's husband, Scott, and her father on the IV, too, telling them they had Lyme disease, even though other doctors later said they never had it. And the bills mounted.
The IV drugs alone right here cost $3,381.
HomeEd charged as much as $7,700 a week for Cheryl's treatment, which lasted 4 months.
Did you ever feel better?
During this treatment, I never felt better a day. I kept feeling worse and worse.
Dr. Shaw and HomeEd say they did nothing wrong, but Cheryl and her husband are suing. Dr. Shaw was just one in a stable of doctors working with HomeEd. Howard Zorfus is another.
Hello, Dr. Zorfus.
He's a podiatrist, a foot doctor, not an MD. Podiatrists aren't supposed to treat diseases that affect the whole body like Lyme disease, let alone prescribe IV treatment for them. So how did Dr. Zorfus get involved?
One of my patients is the president of HomeEd. He happened to come in my office and just say that we're treating a lot of Lyme disease patients. I said, well, I know a fair amount about it, and so I learned a lot from him, and I learned a lot from the doctors that he's dealt with.
So most of your training did come from HomeEd?
Correct, correct.
The people who run HomeEd didn't want to talk to us, but at a Lyme disease rally in Trenton, New Jersey, we caught up with Ray Hernandez.
You know, some people have said that the Lyme Care Center is basically the sales department for HomeEd.
That's garbage. Hernandez says HomeEd never paid Dr. Zorfus and no longer pays other doctors for referrals. Meanwhile, several former employees say that HomeEd is a virtual boiler room where even hotline operators can get a piece of the action.
On a month-to-month basis, they would get cut a commission check for how many cases they generated for the company.
Does that concern you at all, that someone answering your Lyme Care Center phone would get paid a commission?
It doesn't concern me what anybody else's salary is or what mine is. It's none of your business.
None of your business. We heard that answer more than once during our investigation into a disturbing trend. Doctors that go into the home infusion business themselves and stand to make more from the drugs and therapy they prescribe than the medical services they provide. We found one such doctor in Key West, Florida, poised to make millions.
His name is Larry Siegel. He treats AIDS patients at this clinic. Up until 2 years ago, he sent them to a local home infusion company. Then Siegel became partners with a big home infusion company. There was a lot more money to be made providing the services through his clinic. They formed Immune Care of Key West.
I feel taken advantage of. It's as clear as I've been taken advantage of.
John Kreider was an Immune Care patient and says he didn't know Siegel was partners with a big company and making extra money off his IV treatment. Then Kreider found out he could get his drugs and supplies for a much lower price from another company.
I told Dr. Siegel that in the future I preferred to have my medical care delivered by my doctor and my pharmaceuticals delivered by my pharmacist.
I just can't comment on it right now.
Dr. Siegel turned down our repeated requests for an interview, in this case, through a companion.
Real inconvenient time.
Siegel contacted 2020, saying he would appear on our program only live and unedited.
These doctors who participate in this are beginning to treat patients like pork bellies. They're a commodity.
Our committee...
Congressman Pete Stark, chairman of a powerful health subcommittee, says Dr. Siegel's arrangement may be legal, but he wants to make it illegal.
My hope is that these few scoundrels in the medical profession will be drummed out.
This is an area that has grown very rapidly. Are there problems in it? Absolutely. Do the problems outweigh the benefits of the therapies and of this industry? Absolutely not.
Alan Parver is a lobbyist for the home infusion industry. He says the industry wants to get rid of doctor deals, but admits it will take congressional action. And as for allegations of price gouging, Parver insists insurers are negotiating lower prices with Critical Care America and other IV companies.
What is being paid for these therapies has come down, for sure. And the prices are coming down.
Well, they're still charging you $360 for something that they can buy for $5. Negotiations are wrong about pricing. We should go to what's reasonable and what constitutes a reasonable profit.
When Sarah Weber's insurance coverage ran out, her mother had to quit her job so she could qualify for Medicaid. Now she's suing Critical Care America. In August, Sarah Weber died.
Let us pray for Sarah, her family, and friends.
It had been a long struggle for Marie Costas Weber and her family. Sarah had spent half her young life on infusion therapy.
It would be a wonderful legacy for Sarah to leave, to know that no one else will be taken advantage of, have to impoverish themselves because their insurance was wasted on paying exorbitant prices.
Grant mercy to your entire family in this time of sorrow.
I think it'd be wonderful if she could leave a legacy that nobody else would have to go through what her family did.
Catherine, who is monitoring or regulating home infusion now, if anyone?
Well, Hugh, only right now 9 states regulate directly, but the federal government, including the FBI health fraud team, is investigating on a major scale. In fact, one federal investigator said the indications of abuse and fraud, illegal activity, are enormous.
Now, there are decent companies doing this. How do you know if you need this, that you're getting a good deal?
Certainly there are good companies, but what a patient needs to do is talk to his or her doctor, make sure there's no relationship, or at least they're aware of one with a home infusion company, because they can go someplace else. And most importantly, check their own medical bills.
Thank you, Catherine.
Well, next, the government document that's printed in the middle of the night. You never know when your name might be in it. John Stoss will take some heat for asking too many questions about the Congressional Record. After this.
Have you smelled Clorox bleach lately?
Smells like a lemon fresh from the tree. Fresh, fresh lemon fresh. Smells like a clean, fresh lemon breeze. Fresh, fresh lemon fresh. Lemon fresh Clorox bleach.
Skill FlexiCharge cordless tools all share the same battery pack. So when you need a recharge, they keep on working. The FlexiCharge interchangeable power system from Skill.
Of all the credit cards out there, only one has Smart Rate, now as low as 14.9% and no annual fee. Discover Card. It's a better deal. It pays to discover. This holiday season, while you're shopping, we'll be dropping $5 million in the Discover Card Big Payback. Now, every time you use your card, you're automatically entered in our $5 million sweepstakes. It pays to discover the card with the big payback.
Like the Lexus LS 400, the Nissan Altima has specially tuned shock absorbers and front and rear subframes that give it an exceptionally smooth ride. But the Altima costs less than half the money, which means you'll also have the added cushioning of a very thick wallet. Lease a specially equipped Altima GXE for just $750 down and $229 a month for 36 months.
Your hometown friends who show they care. We'll all be there. Let's share our hometown holiday.
There's no place like Walmart for the holidays, where the prices really help and the people do too. Because no matter how busy things get, we'll always take time for our hometown friends.
Share our hometown holiday.
It's holiday time at Walmart.
Monday, this Christian doctor claims he's doing God's work, but these women say the way he practices medicine is a sin.
You had a complete hysterectomy for no good reason.
Is he using his religion to hide his dangerous practice? Day One investigates Monday at 8, 7 Central.
You won't believe what they're talking about in Congress. Soap opera stars, cookie sales, maybe even you. It's all here. It's official. Is that how they're spending our money? John Stossel talks turkey about your tax dollars at work when 2020 continues after this from our ABC stations.
This is an Eyewitness News Brief brought to you by Toys R Us. Now here's John Drury.
Good evening. Coming up tonight at 10, a major development in the kidnapping case of Polly Klaas. The California girl has been missing for months. Tonight, new evidence against her suspected abductor. Then, horses and ponies facing death. It's a shocking story of abuse in a southwest suburb. And Shy Di shuns the limelight. Princess Diana makes plans to keep her life private. Plus, holiday treats from the area's best chefs, how you can duplicate their recipes at home. Join Linda, you and me on Channel 7 at 10.
The low prices at Toys R Us have created incredible excitement.
Chuck, maybe it's Kenner's Baby Checkup, just $24.99. That's causing this reaction.
Maybe, or could be, the Mighty Max student zones for myself for only $7.99 each. Looks like everyone is rushing to get one.
What about the Little Tikes Cozy Coupe? Just $39.99.
Whatever it is, people sure are hurrying to Toys R Us. Toys R Us.
Great toys at low prices, guaranteed.
If you want to relieve holiday stress, don't miss Carson's 2-day sale this Friday and Saturday. See? You're feeling better already.
From ABC News, 2020 continues. Once again, Hugh Downs.
Here at 2020, as you know, we're always looking out for your money. And what better place to find people wasting it than in Washington, which is where our resident skeptic, John Stossel, has just uncovered an amazing example of how your money is spent. Now, you'd think that an official document that we pay millions of dollars to print must be full of important information, a worthwhile way for Congress to spend your money. You'd think that, but you may change your mind after you see John's report.
The floor of Congress. What happens here can affect our health, our wallets, our freedom. So you'd think it would be important to have an accurate record of what's said here. Sure enough, late at night after the members of Congress have gone home, down the street in the government printing office, the lights are still on. Here, while the rest of Washington sleeps, they're making history, or rather printing history, printing the official record of what was said in Congress that day. The printing office stays open all night so they can be sure the historic Congressional Record will be on every congressperson's desk by 7 the next morning.
But have you ever read this thing? If you did, you might find it hard to believe that this is the official record. Was all this really said on the floor of Congress? What's Kelly Minahan doing in here?
How could you do this to me? Go to hell!
Minahan's a soap opera actress. The Congressional Record says a congressman rose before his colleagues to call her a talented and intelligent woman. The record also says a congressman rose to pay tribute to rock singer Ted Nugent for being as good with a bow and arrow as he is with a guitar. And on it goes. The record includes congressional praise for this grade school band that plays using instruments made from garbage. And there's a tribute to Turkey Lovers Month.
This is Roy, probably the only turkey in the world that enjoys being dressed.
The official record includes tributes to the bird watchers of Camp Chiricahua, to beekeepers and their bees, to this 78-year-old drum majorette. The record claims a congressman said, "Mr. Speaker, I ask my colleagues to join me in saluting Dot Hill, who's a legend not only in her own hometown, but throughout the world."
Of course, none of those tributes was ever made on the floor of Congress. But they're all in here, enshrined in history along with what really was said. How does this happen? Well, what congressional insiders know that you may not is that the official record is kind of a fake. The law just says it has to be substantially a verbatim report. Congressmen have taken that word substantially and run with it. Why do they add these things? Well, suppose I'm Congressman Stossel, eager to be reelected. I want to impress my constituents. What's more impressive than public praise in the official record of Congress? Of course, it would be embarrassing to actually stand in front of my colleagues and talk about Turkey Lovers Month. No one has time for that. So I'll just use the record to make it seem as if I did. I can even use phrases like, "Mr. Speaker, I rise today," to make it extra convincing that I really did say those things in front of my colleagues. Now, the additions do cost taxpayers several $million, but they don't cost me anything. And how happy my constituents will be if they read it. Balladeer Dolan Ellis was happy when Senator John McCain thanked him for his years of service to Arizona.
Well, it feels good. It feels real good.
Derek Bott feels good. because he thinks former Mississippi Congressman Mike Espy really did rise on the floor to give a tribute to his karate skills.
Well, I thought it was pretty awesome.
His father knows it never happened, but he's happy too.
If they're going to waste money, I just assume they waste it on my son and anybody else's.
Glad he's happy. But I mind, and so do some congressmen, like Colin Peterson of Minnesota.
It's as if Congress can't stop wasting money on anything.
If I ran my business the way they run this Congress, I wouldn't have stayed in business a month.
At $469 per page, the extra printing is pretty wasteful, given that...
Nobody even reads this thing.
No, I never read it. I would say that there are no members that read it. If everybody in America was forced to read the Congressional Record for a month, we'd be rid of these things because they say, well, this is ridiculous.
Not only do members of Congress tell the government printers to add their extensions to the record, they also have them change the record if they don't like what they really did say. Recently, Representative Gerald Solomon got mad and started screaming at Representative Louise Slaughter.
You say you're trying to shut me off?
I am reserving the right to
You better not do that, Wham. Who do you think you are?
Afterwards, Solomon told the Congressional Record, "Print that I said, I will say to the gentle lady for whom I have the greatest respect," and that is how history will record what happened that day.
I thought a record was a record.
It's not. In this town, a lot of things are not what they seem or what they say they are.
Peterson is sponsoring a bill that would require the record to actually be an accurate record.
We can't clean up our own act. How in the world are we going to take on these tough issues?
Recently, 2020 examined several thousand pages of the record and concluded that the person who's abused the record most is Florida Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen. She's put in tributes to a local restaurant, to Girl Scout cookies, to this car dealer.
We will not be undersold on any car by anybody at any time.
It was Ms. Ros-Lehtinen who added the extensive tribute to the children who play garbage. Yet even the kids know that this doesn't make sense.
I never performed for Congress, so why should I be on a Congressional Record?
Ms. Ros-Lehtinen refused to talk to us about any of this. So instead, we talked to the congressman who seemed to be the second biggest abuser of the record, Jim Trafficant of Ohio. Trafficant's filled the record with tributes to a soapbox derby, to the anniversary of his grade school, to his friend, the antique car collector, and the local tennis pro, to this man for making the finals of the American Gladiators. He wrote in tributes to the local football team and the basketball team. Here, his staff messed up. They had us pay for the same entry twice. Trafficant honored local auctioneers. Why not? It's only $469 per page.
$469, anybody get $469? I think that's a good bargain. $469 and $1 million. Shoot, the beekeepers get $8 million. I heard tobacco got $20 million. Only $1 million to record all these fine things in the Congressional Record. Very short amount of time, $1 million. A good deal. Sold!
You said you loved me.
And it was Trafficant who honored his best friend's daughter when she got a job on As the World Turns. Why should we have to pay for Jim Trafficant's tributes?
John, what are you doing here in the Capitol? I mean, what the hell are you doing with me? Roll that tape.
Talking to Trafficant is quite an adventure.
What are you doing here?
I'm here
jacking me around with these other politicians who are so dumb they can throw themselves at the ground and miss, who blow hundreds of thousands of dollars on free mail, which I don't abuse, and you're here talking to me about giving some tributes for achievements made.
I think you're wasting money. These tributes are wasting my money.
That. I asked who sent you here, and who told you that my tributes are wasting money.
I sent me here.
Because there are a liar. I do cite some specific achievement in Congressional Record. I don't apologize for it, and I'm glad to be able to cite their achievements. I could stand up.
Trafficant says, why pick on me? Given that, as you heard him say, his colleagues waste more money abusing those mailing privileges. Some spend $200,000 trying to impress constituents, mailing out silly newsletters. He gave us a list of what House members spend on free postage, and who should be near the top? Colin Peterson, the man who wants to cut the waste in the Congressional Record. So we went back to Peterson to confront him about the list.
It points out how much you spend on free postage. You spend $150,000 on that. Isn't that a waste of money?
When is this now?
Peterson said he couldn't be near the top of the list.
You know, I'm not anywhere near the top.
152,000 is close to the top.
It is? Well, then
Yeah.
this is not this year's. This is last year's.
So in other years, you
Well,
were
what happened-
wasting money and now you've
That's
stopped?
right, that's right.
What they should do, these pussies, is sponsor a bill to stop it. Jim Trafficant is going to cite the achievements of his constituents as long as other members can.
So it's okay for you to waste some money since your colleagues are wasting much more?
No, I'm not saying it's wasting money. You see it as a waste of money.
But why should I have to pay for that?
Because that is a practice that is existing here in the Congress, and everybody pays tribute.
Well, at least he's out front. I think you're terrific. I mean, you get in there and you do it, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. And I hear we're in it.
We did a computer search. You and I alone, I'm afraid, have wasted several $1,000s of the taxpayers' money. There's a speech you gave that one senator reprinted.
Oh,
and I have
my
several
Emmy speech
pages of...
that I made, Senator...
What's
the minute
funny
she
is
put
your
that-
Emmy
well, mine
speech.
was sort of nice of it.
But it was seen on television by 40 million people. They reprint it so someone will see it. Nobody sees this.
And you, what are you in for?
The outtakes of interviews I've done. 3 pages with Senator Byrd.
Well, it's
That
not
he
our
put
fault.
in.
It's not our fault, and you're right. I guess it's nice, but gee, guys, we'll be right back.
Are you tired of that dog food already? Here's something different, sweetie.
Constantly switching your dog's food can sometimes lead to finicky eating behavior. So feed your dog a consistent diet of one nutritious dog food. Purina Dog Chow every day.
Since 1980, over 500,000 Americans who make clothing and home fashions have lost their jobs. So if you think looking for the Made in the USA label doesn't matter,
Next.
it matters.
Hiya, Eddie. What do you need?
Tums.
Eddie, this doesn't speak well for the cuisine.
It's not the cuisine, it's the calcium.
Sure. How about these?
They use aluminum and magnesium. This uses an aluminum salt. I told you. They want the calcium.
But they're all acid.
They want the Tums.
They all help to fix the heartburn.
But Tums has calcium. Something your body needs anyway.
All right. I'll go get the Tums.
Calcium-rich Tums.
Got to be the cuisine.
Now, be honest. Have you ever had a cat box odor problem?
No, never.
What? You need Fresh Step cat litter, ma'am. It releases fresheners every time your cat steps. Only Fresh Step freshens with every step.
If you're watching your money closely, you'll like what you see in the new Ford Escort. You'll like the fact that it's priced thousands less than the leading imports, that it has a level of quality that helps bring it more repeat buyers than any other small car, and the fact that you can get any one of these highly equipped Escorts for the same low price. Ford Escort. When it comes to quality and value, it's right on the money.
Sunday, Allison Wilcox beat the odds when she triumphed over cancer.
It's a miracle.
And again when she became pregnant.
I thought that wasn't possible. So did I.
But now she's going to need another miracle.
I said no risk. Now there's a hurricane headed straight for us. Mayday! Mayday! We gotta find her. She's 5 months pregnant.
Based on a true story.
They could be anywhere within a several thousand square mile area.
I want to live.
John Schneider and Mel Harris in Desperate Journey. The Allison Wilcox story Sunday.
I'm your new best friend.
A cop is caught between the mob and the law.
You're trying to get clean by doing something dirty.
And Kelly can't let go.
You're my lover, and I don't want to get you involved.
What if that's unacceptable to me?
NYPD Blue, Tuesday. Viewer discretion advised.
Now for a story you really could call heartwarming. A few weeks ago, Dr. Timothy Johnson presented a life-saving report and a test on heart attacks, how to recognize the symptoms and what to do if you had them. Well, that report really was a lifesaver for one of our viewers. Dr. Tim joins us now from our Boston Bureau with the amazing details.
Well, Hugh, we all get a lot of mail thanking us for what we do, but this one was really unusual. It comes from a Frances Izzy, who says that night she and her husband were watching 2020, and this is what she writes. That day, my husband had been experiencing chest discomfort and heartburn while at work. Friends offered to take him to the hospital, but he declined, suggesting it was the tuna fish sandwich he had eaten for lunch. The discomfort continued into the evening, accelerating into pain in his chest. While your feature story described the symptoms of heart attacks, we realized we were in trouble. The hospital is a few blocks away, so we went to the emergency room. Shortly after arrival, John went into cardiac arrest and was coded. We were told by the doctors if we had not been there, my husband would have died. We want to thank you for producing such informative shows, this one in particular.
Boy, that is dramatic. How is he doing now?
Well, I talked to John Izzy this afternoon. He's doing well. He's getting better day by day, and he once again said, thank you all very much for saving my life. It really, as you said, is heartwarming.
That is amazing. It's gratifying to be involved in a program that is life-saving. We'll be right back.
What do you want for breakfast?
You got something different?
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Honey, what do you want for breakfast?
Something different.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Honey, what do you want for breakfast?
Something different.
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Kellogg's Just Right is just what you want. An exciting blend of sensational tastes and textures, so you always get something different.
What do you want for breakfast?
Kellogg's Just Right.
Sounds good.
Kellogg's Just Right. You just never get tired of it.
It's morning in Detroit, and Ford designers are working on a concept car. In Brazil, a class of engineers studies a new engine. In England, a Ford-powered car drives to victory. In Australia, a Ford returns from an endurance run. And back in America, the Lincoln Mark 8 gains yet another admirer. This is Ford, a world of 325,000 people in 30 countries, where the pursuit of quality never stops.
Hello, everybody. I'm Linda Hugh.
And I'm John Drury. Next, right here on Channel 7, a little girl kidnapped. Her case gets the attention of millions. Tonight, police reveal new evidence. Also, why some people say stores in their neighborhoods are encouraging gang activities.
And James Ward shows how to treat yourself to festive food for the holiday season. That and more next.
Saturday on ABC's College Football. It's one of the greatest rivalries in sports as Army battles Navy in a high noon showdown. Then the Southeastern Conference crown is on the line. The Florida Gators meet the Alabama Crimson Tide in a rematch of last year's thriller. It's the SEC Championship game presented by Dr. Pepper. All Saturday on ABC Sports.
Monday night is day one, and host Forrest Sawyer has a preview of the upcoming program.
Barbara, on Monday, a day one investigation. He's a prominent physician who says he is doing God's work. Some of his patients and even other physicians say he's guilty of medical misconduct, but he calls the charges religious persecution. That's Monday on day one. Hugh?
Thank you, Forrest. Also, don't forget to watch Nightline after your local news with a report on an intriguing conversation with Supreme Court Justice Harry Blackmun. And, Barbara, you have something really special coming up next week.
Yes, I do. Wednesday night, December 8th, I'll be presenting the 12 most fascinating people of 1993. Among our choices, Clint Eastwood, singer K.D. Lang, basketball great Shaquille O'Neal, Dr. Jack Kevorkian, David Letterman, and 8 others just as fascinating.
Where am I in that list of 12?
13.
I was afraid of that.
Just turned out that way. Anyway, we think you'll find the program intriguing and entertaining. Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, 9 Central Time.
And that is 2020 for tonight. We thank you for joining us.
Remember, we're in touch, so you be in touch. I'm Barbara Walters.
And I'm Hugh Dow.
And for all of us here at 2020, I'll see you next Wednesday. Have a good weekend. Good night.
.2020 is a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
The American Broadcasting Company. ABC.